There we go. We are live. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris, and this is my channel, We Love Comics. I thought I'd do a surprise live show because I got a couple of packages in the mail that I want to share with you all. Today is the 28th of October. I still cannot believe it's almost November already. Just a couple of days until my birthday. Always happy about that. It is 5:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I see people are starting to arrive. I like the fact that I literally can just make a video without any warning and people show up. So that's great. So Lewis is here, Ricky, Heidi, Sam, Jay, Dan. Welcome. I always appreciate everyone. Craig, it's always nice to see people come in. And I have two packages that I want to show and do an unboxing. I don't know what's... Well, one of the boxes I know what's in them. The other I do not because it's an actual act of kindness. So Kevin says hi, so I say hi back. But before I do that, I want to mention, because if anybody's kind enough to join my Patreon, I always say in there, I will give you a shout out. So I have two new Patreon members. Their name, I'm just going to say Craig for the first one because I don't want to reveal their last name. They may not want that out there. So Craig, welcome and thank you. And also Meet Bob World. They just joined my Patreon. So you don't have to. It's not required. But if you want to, the link is in the description. And also you can see it on my, not the thumbnail, but the banner. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little thing there if you want to. But like I said, there is no need. You don't have to. Anthony says happy birthday. My birthday's actually November 9th, but I appreciate that's nice. Austin, Vicky are here. Sith is here. Jerry, welcome. All right, so let me put on the video camera. The Coyote says, do you ship to the United Kingdom? My name's Steven. Well, I'm not shipping anything because I'm not selling anything, but if I did, I'm sure I would. Bobby's here, welcome. So let me put on the video camera. So if anybody wants to send me anything, I mean, you could put it on pause if you have to when this uploads. This is the place you can contact and send things. So you could pause that. I mean, obviously it's not a requirement. No one has to do it. I mean, especially if you have original artwork that you've drawn and you want me to show it off. If you create a comic book and you want some free advertisement for it, I'm more than happy to do it. There's only one requirement for this. Unfortunately, because I have some of the haters and everything, the one thing I will require if you send anything, it has to be included with a tracking number. So anything that is sent without a tracking number, I will not open because, I mean, especially these days with mail, you have to be careful. So I want to make sure that the tracking number is traceable where packages are coming from. So that's for safety of my family. I'm sure most of you will understand that. So if you are going to send anything, please make sure it includes a tracking number. Otherwise, like I said, I have to just be careful. But anyway, I have two packages here. The first one I'm going to do, and it's also a shout out to their channel. Those of you who watch my channel to the original channel, I was actually one of the first people to do the comic book auctions. But since I shut down my original channel, I don't do that stuff anymore. I may think about it again sometime, but there's a lot of other YouTube channels that are doing the auctions. I wasn't sure about it, but I thought, you know what, I'd give it a try. So I want to give a shout out to them and their channel. It's called All About Comics. So type that in to their to the YouTube search engine. Check out their channel, subscribe to them. I don't know how often they do it because it was the first one I actually participated in. But I got such a great deal on this. I wanted to make sure, I wanted to say thank you, do the unboxing, and shout out to their channel. So All About Comics, please check them out. And I'll show you what I got. I mean, I'm very happy with this. And they did send it. I got it a couple of days ago. It's just been a little busy for me, so I haven't been able to do a video. So they actually delivered it, you know, pretty quickly. I mean, I cannot complain about the price. Their shipping and handling fees are definitely more than fair. And they do combined shipping. And, alright, so this was tape before a live audience. The good thing is they used the blue tape, but like I always say, you got to be careful about this stuff because if it doesn't peel, see what'll happen? It could bend the comics. So you got to be careful. That's why I actually have a video that teaches people how to mail their comics where you don't need tape at all, and it'll still give the same safety and security, because, I mean, when you bend these, it could potentially damage the comic. So at least they did do the painter's tape, so that's cool. But, yeah, it gets stuck on the lip here, but that's alright. I always change the bag and boards anyway. So if anything, it'll make it more dramatic, because you'll wonder what these comics are. Now, obviously, this isn't Detective Comics 27, Batman #1, Action Comics 1. I wish, but these are still decent comics, and I was very happy to purchase them. So if you've never done the comic book auctions, you may want to give them a try. Unfortunately, this is taking a little bit longer than I would like. Alright, so there we go. So there's one of them in this set of a run of comics that they did not include, and I knew that going in, so I'm perfectly fine with that. But again, when you hear the price, I mean, this is much better than what I would have gotten on an eBay purchase. Alright, this is going good. And also, don't forget to wait until the end to see who's today's surprise subscriber shout-out. As usual, you do not have to be a subscriber, because obviously I'm not going to check. So the more you comment in the live chat, the more likely I will get my attention towards you. I mean, if you like that kind of stuff, you know, make your voice heard. I also make it to encourage people to be a part of the video, not just, you know, watching. I want you to be a part of the channel and a part of the conversation. That's why I also do those Key or Dud videos, because of the fact that it makes people, you know, feel like it's a part of them. Okay, so there's actually, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books altogether. Alright, so here are the books that I bought with the auction. So we have, and you'll see it's a run, it's the Venom series, issue number 6. Issue number 5. Love that cover. Not sure completely what I think about the fact that Venom now has wings. But hey. Issue number 4. So this, again, this is from All About Comics channel. They did their auction. Now, it didn't come with issue number 3, but that's alright. I have a couple of copies that I bought the day it came out. But I did not have issue number 2. It also included, and these are in great condition, included issue number 1, the first print. So these are all first prints. And a bonus comic, which is the official Marvel collectible from the Venom movie. So 6 comics altogether. And with shipping and handling, I paid a total of $15. So that's less than $3 a comic, and considering these, when they first came out, were $3.99 a piece, I actually paid under cover price for some pretty key books. I mean, especially issue number 1. This book is going for about between $25 and $40. So, like I said, I don't know if they do those auctions regularly or not. But if you subscribe to their channel and hit their notification button, you will be alerted to them doing, if they do another auction. So they did a great job. They actually communicate well with each other, fast shipping. They let you know that they received the payment right away, so there's nothing worrying about what will happen. So yeah, $15 for all 6 of those books. I'm very happy about that. Great job on their part, and I will check out their live auctions again. And maybe one day I may get those back again. I don't know. I'm thinking about it, but we'll see. All right, so this was a act of kindness. So I want to give a shout out. I'm going to say their name is Big Will. So I don't know what's in here. This was actually waiting at my office, so I'm very excited to see it. So again, if you're just coming in, if you want to pause it or whatever at one point, if you ever wanted to send anything to me, this is where you could send it to. But like I said before, there is one requirement because of the fact I have some unfortunate, few bad apples try and spoil the tree. If you are going to be kind enough to send something, please send it with a tracking number, because if somebody tried to send something that was not nice, I want to make sure it can be traced back. So if something is sent without a tracking number, I unfortunately will not open it, just because of the safety of my family. So I'm not trying to be a jerk or anything, but I want to make sure that there aren't people trying to ruin a nice thing for people. So, with that being said, I felt it was like very cushiony at first. I was wondering at first what was here, so it definitely piqued my curiosity. So that's what that was. Alright, so, they taped this, and I wanted to say, Big Will, thank you so much. I mean, to be honest, the name does not sound familiar. So I don't believe this is a person that's been following me for a while, and if they are, you know, please let yourself known, either if you're in the live chat here, or if you see this at some point, because, I mean, this is really nice. And I've seen so many channels have these things happen, and to be honest, sometimes I was actually a little jealous. But, I mean, I never wanted anybody to think they have to send me things, because it's definitely not a requirement. So, alright, the first thing they've sent me, I've never seen this before. It's a graphic novel. If anybody knows anything about it, let me know. It says Vicious Circus. So that is really cool, and considering, I mean, I complained about the Marvel prices, $12.99 price tag. So let's see. This is nice. I wonder if this is something that he made. Oh, and look at this. I don't know if that's part of the comic or it was signed. So I don't know if that was actually on these. So if anybody has one of these, let me know. So Big Will is here. So there you go. So Big Will, let me ask you, and thank you for this. This is really nice. Is this a book that you made? Because I've never heard of this before. This is by Inverse. So let me know if that's the case, because I want to promote it if that's the case. But I also see here that there is a signature. So I don't know if that's something that's on every book, or is that an actual signature of the book. Now, it says it's by Laporte, Rachels, and Luth. And it looks like it says... It doesn't say any there, so I'm not really sure about that. So if you can fill in the blanks about it, let me know, even in the comment section. For anybody that might be interested in that book, they would know where to get it. So thank you, that's nice. So there's a couple of things here. This is another one. It's called A Mandatory Collection of Short Stories illustrated by Amanda Rachels. So this is another kind of graphic novel. I like this cover. It's kind of got that spooky little old-fashioned doll look to it. So let me take a look at this. And again, it's signed. So that's really cool. And let me show a little bit of the inside. So here's a couple of pages. So again, I've never heard of these before. If anybody knows about these, let me know about that. And then they added something about Lady Death, a coupon for Lady Death. That's cool. I might give this away to somebody. Somebody that likes Lady Death. But here's another, and again, I've never heard of this before, and it is signed. I would love to know if this is your original comic, because if it is, please post the website. But this is called Black Speck. And it is signed. He says it is signed and sketched, and there's a note. So let me... Oh, okay, wow. I didn't realize that. There's actually, I thought that was part of the artwork. That's actually an original sketch. So is this you that does this? Is this somebody you know? Let me know about that, because I would definitely love to promote this. So this is signed and has an original sketch. Thank you for pointing that out. So this is really cool. I'm blown away by this. So, let me see the comic. It says it's by Dance Panda. Dance Panda Comics. I've never heard of them before. If anybody knows about them, let me know. Big Will says there's a note. Make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, okay. Turn over. I don't see anything there. Oh, okay. There we go. It was taped together. All right, so he put both trades and the comic are from publishers here in Alabama. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so he put this note in there. I didn't see it. Sorry about that, because it was actually taped together. So this is from a local place down there. So what I want you to do, tell them, if you don't have the information, tell them to post the link to their channels anywhere that can help people find them. Please send them my personal gratitude for these books and everything, and thank you, as you know, you're the one that sent them. But please have them send a link to their store if they have one, or Facebook page. I will accept it, even if it links have to be approved by me, because unfortunately, I want to make sure somebody, if they send me a link, it's not to some porn site or something. I don't want, especially if kids come here, to click on something like that. So I always have to approve them. So send me the link. Have them do it if you can, and I will absolutely approve them, and hopefully people will come and, check that out. So this is what I'm going to do. This, if anybody's interested, because I don't collect Lady Death, but I don't want this to go to waste. This is a ladiesdeathstore.com. It is a 15% off online purchases. Let me just see if there's any. All right, receive 15% off your first online purchase. Valid one time only. Good until December 31st of 2018. So it is still valid. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, so. Oh, and Robert, thank you. As always, like I say, if somebody's kind enough to do a super chat, as soon as I see it, I want to make sure I acknowledge it. I'm definitely not one of those channels that just takes it for granted and just lets them scroll by. To me, if somebody's going to be kind enough to do something like that, I want to acknowledge it right away. So Robert Galvin, thank you. He says, so nice to see you live, buddy. Happy Halloween. I hope you guys are going to have a safe Halloween. So here this is. I'm going to do a giveaway right now. This will be live for anybody that's here live. So if you're interested in getting a 15% coupon off of the Lady Death store, if you're somebody that likes to collect Lady Death, in the top chat, in the chat right now, just type the number 1, and then I will randomly pick somebody, and I will mail it out to them as a thank you for being a subscriber to my channel. Because this is really kind, and Big Will, thank you for that. You just literally made my day. I will cherish these comics. Like I said, I've never heard of these before, but I will definitely be reading them. My wife loves graphic novels as well, so I am definitely going to look into it. The fact that they're signed and even an original sketch, I mean, that's just amazing. So, thank you so much. So if anybody wants to win this 15% coupon, it's valid until the end of this year. Just type in the number 1. I'll give it another minute or two, and then I will pick one of the people that puts it, and then let me write an email address that you can contact me. You can contact me on Facebook, and that again is on the banner on my front page. You can click on that if you want, but let me write down an email address that I created, and you can contact me there with your mailing address, and I will mail it. I would assume you would probably want to be living in the United States, because otherwise probably shipping and handling would probably kill you on this. So, if you write number 2, you will not be picked. So just so you know, if you want to win, you got to type number 1. So, you can pause this if you have to. This is the email address you can contact me at. It's peacefulfeelings@yahoo.com. And let me get the information. I will mail this right out to you. So, I mean, obviously, I don't want this to go to waste, but I know I wouldn't use it. So I don't want it to be, just wasted. So somebody else that might want to take advantage of it. All right, so at 541, I will pick the winner. So if you want to get this 15% coupon, I will mail it to you. Obviously, I'll pay for the shipping and handling because obviously this isn't going to be very expensive. Just type the number 1, and I will pick somebody. As soon as it hits 541, I will just randomly pick somebody. Obviously, I'm not picking any favoritism. I want to make sure. So what I'll do is I'll scroll up and down. Just type it once. We want to keep it fair. So don't do multiple times. All right, so as soon as it hits 540. And make sure you check All About Comics channel for the auctions. Again, I don't know if they do it regularly or not. You can ask them. But if you subscribe to their channel, they will, let you know about it. And if anybody has anything like that and they do something like this, if anybody's ever kind enough to send me stuff like this, especially if you make your own comic or you do your own original art and you're trying to get work or whatever, if you send me that stuff, send it with a link so I will promote you. I have no problems with that. There's unfortunately a lot of channels that are worried about, their own self-preservation and worrying about themselves and not competition. I don't view people as competition because if we all succeed, we all win. And that's good for the community. So if you draw your own stuff and you're trying to get your art out there so maybe you can get a job working for Marvel, DC, Image, or anything, you want to send me a piece of original art, you're more than welcome to. Post a link, a Facebook page, anything like that, and maybe that will catch somebody's eye, so you never know. All right, so I'm going to pick the winner now. I'm just going to scroll up and down to see who's the winner. I'm not going to pick any favorites. I'm just going to scroll really quick. The first one I see when I stop is going to be the winner. So at this point, please do not type in a 1 because I want to pick from the people that did it. All right, so I'm stopping, and we are going with the BPRD. So I'm not sure what that stands for, but if your channel and you're here right now, the BPRD, so that's B as in Bob, P as in Peter, R as in Robert, D as in David. Message me by the end of the day, and if I don't get a message by the end of the day, that means they weren't here live anymore, and I will give it to somebody else. So BPRD, congratulations, you're the winner of that coupon. And also, if anybody ever wants to send me stuff to give away to people, I might be thinking about doing some contests and stuff like that. So you never know. If somebody wants to donate stuff to give, I might be more than willing to start doing that stuff again. But really quick, Big Will says, what do you think about scoring a Hulk 181 and 182 for 1,500? Honestly, it will depend on the grade. One of the things I would recommend at this point, because $1,500 is probably going to get you probably a 2.0 at best. For $1,000, you can get like a 9.0 range of a Hulk 180. So I would tell people, honestly, you might be better off getting a higher graded 180, which is the first appearance of Wolverine, even though it's a cameo, than to get a really super low 181. I mean, honestly, I tell people, you do what you think is best. If you think getting a 181 and 182 for 1,500 is within your means and you think it's reasonable, then I say go for it. I would never let anybody to want to be influenced based on what other people do, because that's when people can gang up and put pressure on you and say, oh, how dare you collect that, or collect that way, or think this way, because everyone over here doesn't think or do what you're doing. So if you think it's a good deal, I say go for it. Me personally, for $1,500, and if I could only get like a 2.0 Hulk 181 and maybe a 4.0 182, I would pass up on it. I would rather get a higher grade 180 or wait until there's a dip, because there's always times where there's dips happening. So again, if you make it if it makes you happy, then it's worth it. And Heidi says, Chris, I really want to know this before I buy it. Is Hulk 181 worth $2,000? And they said it's a 5.0. So let's look it up. I'm going to go to gocollect.com, and we're going to put Hulk 181. And they're saying that this book, now, is that a graded 5.0, or is that somebody saying it's a 5.0? because there's a huge difference between a graded 5.0 and what somebody claims it to be. Now, that could be in your favor, it could end up being a 6.0, or it could end up being a 4.0. You never know. But according to Go Collect, and they base it on CGC prices, a 5.0 right now is going for $2,500. So what did you say that you would pay for it? Let me scroll up. Oh, what happened? Let me see if I could find it. All right, so is a Hulk 181 worth $2,000 at a 5.0? If it is a graded CGC book, then you are technically, as of now, paying $500 less than the current value. So, is that worth it? Yes. Again, it has to be graded. And again, in CGC, because CGC is the #1 and it's going to sell a lot quicker. So if it was a 5.0 PGX, probably would not be worth $2,000. Like I say, I keep it real. So again, what I tell people is do your homework. Research prices. Not only research what the current values are, but go on past sales on eBay. See, you can do a history up to like 6 months ago, I think, or maybe up to a year of what people have paid for the book. And if you cannot pay less than that, see, me personally, I don't like to pay current prices on books unless it's something I know, like, for example, Fantastic Four 48. I know that book, X-Men #1, Giant Size X-Men #1. I know these books due to the fact that Marvel's soon going to take them over. I know those books are only going to go up. So I will pay a little bit higher for those if I have to. But even then, I don't like to pay higher prices. I like to stay below, or at least at the bottom of what people are paying for books. So Robert said something really quick. He says, do you think lower grade books are better investments because they're easy to sell? Absolutely. The biggest misconception is people think higher grades are going to get you higher profits. Now, if you spend $10,000 on a 9.8, and you have to wait 5 years for the $10,000 book to reach $15,000. Yeah, that's $5,000, but you're talking percentage-wise, that's not a big increase in your profits. And now you've had to sit on $10,000 for 5 years or more to get that little amount. Now, if you have, for example, a 2.0 that you spend $100 on, and in 5 years it's now worth $500, well, you've made a 500% increase in your profit. So there's a higher profit margin, and you only had to keep $100 on hold as opposed to $10,000. So I forget the channel's name, but there was a channel that did really a lot of research on this. So it might seem like, yeah, $10,000, selling it for $15, I made $5,000, where the person at $100 sold it for $5, only made $500. But it's the amount of profit. The higher one seems like more money, but there's less profit. You didn't make 2 times this amount of money. He didn't even make, he made, let's see, because 10% of 10,000 would be 1,000. So roughly around maybe 40% of an increase in profit as opposed to 500%. So lower grades are going to sell also quicker. Because remember, not many people have $15,000 to spend. I mean, I've seen, for example, there's an auction on eBay where they're selling Superman, I think it's 1 through 5. And there you go, you get a little bit of a cat, you want to jump in. So I think it's either Action Comics 1 through 5 or Superman 1 through 5. And I've seen it for months. I mean, who wouldn't love it? But they want a couple of $100,000 for it. I think it's like $250,000 or something. And they're all low grade. So they're really harder to sell because there's not a lot of people out there. And remember, buyer protection program, I don't know if they cover that high of a cost. Doggy Logo says, what is your camera set from? There's a black on the bottom on the right. Yeah, I don't know what that is, actually. That's interesting. It might be something on the program that I use. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen that before, but yeah, I don't know what that is. Bobby says, I'm stuck between Fantastic Four Giant Size 1975 for $15 and Thor 151 for $20. Well, to be honest, for a total of $35, buy both. I mean, if these were hundreds of dollars, I can understand your conundrum. But, I mean, for $35, buy both. So you won't have to worry about being stuck in between. So I'll answer a couple of questions really quick, but I don't want to make this video too long. Jerry P says 180 is where 181 was long ago. Right. So I'll tell you, right now, unless you have a lot of money, 181 is going to be hard to get at this point unless you want to settle for a 0.5 with, you know, no Marvel value stamp. I wouldn't do it. 180 is so undervalued because remember, like I said, 180 is the first appearance ever of Wolverine. It is a cameo, but it is still his first appearance. And the cat wants to block. So he wants to be a part of this. So 180 would be a steal at this point. And, oh, by the way, because D. Kruk actually said this. Remember when I was telling people months ago to buy Submariner #1? Because one day Marvel might actually do a Submariner movie. Now, I don't know if it was solo, but they actually confirmed that they will be using Submariner in a future Marvel comic movie. Kevin Feige actually said that they are going to be using Submariner. I don't know how many people actually know that. So I have like 4 or 5 copies of Submariner #1 that I bought years ago because I plan ahead. And the funny part is I told people months ago to get it because I told people I had some inside information about these things, which some people didn't believe, so people chose to believe them. So another thing I'm going to recommend, get Mephisto. That's Silver Surfer issue #3. Eventually, after the space, now you're talking this is at least 5 to 10 years from now. So keep that with a grain of salt. It may be quicker. It may never happen at all. But eventually they're going to go from space to the underworld. They already started doing that with Hela, with Thor Ragnarok. But eventually Mephisto is going to see the light of day, and the underworld characters. That's why I was telling people to get those bagged comics from the 90s. I forget what they're called. But the idea is to get these things before people talk about it or before something's confirmed. Because if it doesn't happen, you at least pay the minimum prices. You pay cheaper prices. Because Submariner #1 is from the Silver Age, so it is an older book. But now that people are starting to confirm that Submariner is eventually going to be in a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, those books are going to skyrocket. So now would be the worst time to get them. But unfortunately, most people, they use emotion and they wait until the last minute, and then you spend 10 times the money you don't have to. I was buying Submariner #1 between $40 and $68. Good luck getting that now for a 0.5. And once that becomes mainstream, once they do their first, you know, teaser trailer or their first little end credit scene with Submariner, what do you think people are going to do? They're going to go straight to that book because most people are not going to be able to afford the first appearance of Submariner because that's a Golden Age character. Even Fantastic Four #4. I've been trying to get that one. It's going to be out of reach now. And that's the first Silver Age appearance of the Submariner. So the next one that people are going to gravitate to is going to be Silver Surfer. Is going to be Submariner #1. That book is going to be now, it's going to go from $70 to $80 to $200 to $300. Because you know how people are on eBay. So the idea is to get these things beforehand. Bobby says, what about the rumor of female Hawkeye being in a new Marvel movie? I don't think they're going to go that far. Hawkeye himself is not that popular of a character. So to have a female version, I just don't think that's going to succeed. And if anything, it would be a one-and-done kind of situation, in my opinion. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I wouldn't invest lots of money in a character like that. To be honest, that's my opinion. If yours is different, you know, that's fine. And Herbert says, what about Foom 2? That's not Wolverine. It's a Wolverine-like character, but it's not Wolverine, so there is a difference. So that to me is wasted money. Again, unless you can find it for like $5 or $10. If somebody's trying to sell that for like hundreds of dollars, there's an old saying, a fool and their money are soon parted. Don't base it on hype. People don't want to hear the first, what could have been a character. Because there was a first appearance of a prototype Hulk, a first prototype Ant-Man, a first prototype Doctor Strange, and they're not worth much because they're not the characters. So Foom is an example of that, where it's an idea of Wolverine, but it's not canon. Anything that's not canon is not going to maintain value unless it's some rare exception. So if you're one of those gamblers that want to beat the odds, don't go against the one in a million shot. The long shots hardly ever succeed. They will every now and then, but, you know, if you play those kind of odds, you're going to lose more times than you're ever going to win. And is that what you really want to put yourself through? So, hopefully I answered a couple of good questions. Comic addiction, and I posted my email address here. You said you wanted to contact me, so now you know how. But he writes, what do you think about Spider-Woman #1? I've been telling people for years to get that book. Also, Marvel Spotlight 32, which is her first appearance. I mean, I was buying those when I could buy them for $10, $20. So the idea is, if you want to take a chance on them before something happens. It doesn't guarantee something will happen, but better to buy it at $20, $30 than to spend $80, $90, $100, $200, and then if they end up in a movie, $300, $400. I don't understand the logic sometimes, but most people follow what others do. Like me, you will never see a video of me asking anyone about what I should buy. I have confidence in my purchases, and that's what I want to recommend to all of you. Have confidence in your investments. And remember, there are risks involved. So you could be the most knowledgeable person, know everything inside and out, get all the inside information, and still be wrong. So whether I win or lose when it comes to how much money I spent on a comic and how much it ends up ultimately being worth, I don't care. I'm not going to jump up and down and brag that I made hundreds of dollars on one comic, and I'm definitely not going to take my knife and try and commit suicide because I lost money on a comic. So if you are a person that cannot emotionally handle the fact that you could lose money, then don't do it, because you're in it for the wrong reasons. I love comics. I collect comics because I'm interested in them. I find the artwork beautiful. The stories are great in some of these comics. I mean, I remember as a kid reading The Infinity Gauntlet, which, you know, doesn't really have much to do with the movie. I mean, considering there is no Mephisto, there is no Lady Death, and that's primarily the main antagonists and the reason for the whole thing to happen in the first place. You gotta love what you do, because if you're doing it for investment purposes only, if you fail and you spend all of your money investing on something in hopes that it wins and it fails, it's going to destroy you. So my first bit of advice is walk away if you cannot handle a loss, because you will have them. And for every win, you will probably have 10 losses, especially if you don't do research, especially if you wait until everybody else climbs on board the, you know, the flavor of the month situation, and you don't put in the effort. See, me, I'm willing to put in the effort. And even with that, I'll have losses every now and then. But I'm okay with it. And you notice, I don't overspend on a lot of books. I mean, obviously, if I would have bought Hulk 181 back in 1980, I would have spent a lot less than what I'm paying now, obviously. But we have to go based on the current situation. So you got to go with the fact that, like, for example, I have a Hulk 181, my third one, that's coming back from being graded. It should come back in another week or two. It should come back between a 5.0 and a 6.0, somewhere in that range. I paid $1,800. Now, when I bought it at that time, people thought I was crazy. It's like, you're spending $1,800 on a book that could come back a 5.0? Well, I just told everybody what the current price is for that book at a 5.0. A 5.0 right now is around $2,500. So I spent hundreds of dollars less than what the going rate is. And that is not even including the fact that Wolverine is not in the MCU yet. And when he's in the MCU and they do the first teaser trailer, or he's in a end credit scene, you don't think everybody is going to go ballistic and start jumping on the Hulk 181 train that hasn't done it already? That book has not even seen the beginnings of the light of day of where it's headed. Now, can it stay at that peak level? Well, that all depends on what character they, you know, what actor they hire to play Wolverine. Can he be as, you know, amazing as Hugh Jackman was? Can it be long-lasting? And if that's the case, the sky's the limit. I think, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, I think what Amazing Fantasy was about 3 or 4 years ago, what Amazing Fantasy 15 was price-wise about 3 or 4 years ago, is where Hulk 181 is headed. I think he's that much of an iconic character, and I think Marvel will do it justice. I hope they do it justice with Fantastic Four, especially with Doctor Doom. Because, I mean, especially the last movie with Doctor Doom. I mean, that whole system, it was just a joke. But the good thing is, when there's bad movies, that's the best time to pounce on those comics. When that last Fantastic Four movie bombed, that's when I bought 3 of my Fantastic Four 48s. Probably about 5 or 6 Fantastic Four 49s. I have 2 Fantastic Four 48s that graded 5.0s that I spent $325 on. They're worth $1,500 now. And Fantastic Four isn't even in a Marvel movie yet. So the idea is to get things before people are talking about it. Getting them when they're not popular. Getting them when nobody cares about them. Sadly, most people do the opposite. And that is how some people can make lots of profit off of people. If you are going to overspend for something, and you have no clue where it's going to go because you didn't do the research, you didn't ask around, you didn't look things up, you didn't notice what movies they were or were not in, you're probably going to fail. And if that makes you upset, you can't blame society, you can't blame investors, you can't blame the comic community. You have to take responsibility. And unfortunately, because a lot of people that talk about speculation books don't really know what's going on, and they just say, well, I think this will be good, they mislead a lot of people into creating a hype, overselling it, and then making a profit. Because you notice, I don't sell my comics, so I'm not trying to bring up a comic so I can say, oh, look, here, I'm going to sell you the very thing you want, because that's unethical. And I remember, Great Legend is here, and welcome. I hope you saw the surprise subscriber shout-out I gave you the other day. Hopefully you watched the video. But he says, hey, Chris, got my Fantastic Four run back in 2011 to 2013. That was one of the biggest videos I saw of his. He's got all the way down to issue number 1. I'm, like, so jealous of his collection. But he bought them years ago. That investment, especially issues 1 through... Fantastic Four issues 1 through 52. I guarantee you, if he bought all those between 2011 and 2013, I guarantee you he's minimum quadrupled his investment, if not more. And when Fantastic Four is in a Marvel movie for the first time, that collection, just again, issues 1 through 52, will rise 20-fold from probably what he paid for it. So did anybody care about the Fantastic Four back in 2011 or 2013? Not many. And he was smart enough to invest the money into something that he probably knew would be worth something. Now, if he invested in it only for the fact that he loves the Fantastic Four, then that's a great reason right there. So don't collect stuff that you don't love. Because I remember watching those videos, watching key after key, and I was just like, that's an amazing collection. And he even says he'll never sell them. And, you know, that's great. So if he bought them because he loved them, let's put it this way, even if it's true and he never sells them, the fact that he maybe, let's say he spent a total of 10 grand from issue 1 to 52 back in those days. Let's say he spent off and on a total of 10 grand. And now they're worth 200 grand. Even if he didn't sell them, he can have the bragging rights of saying, you know what, I didn't have to spend 200 grand to get these books. I paid under 10. So that's a good feeling when you could buy something cheaper than what other people are getting. So it's not people bragging, it's trying to re-educate people to think differently. Because if you know anything about investments, it's buy low and sell high. And what do most people do? They start buying when the price is up because people are demanding it and it's creating that bubble. And when do people sell? When all of a sudden they start seeing it drop. They don't understand that investments can go up and down. Which means what goes up must come down. What goes down can go back up. I mean, like I said, look at the Fantastic Four. Look at the prices of books before the last movie, after the last movie, and where they are now. People are so afraid to buy things unless a massive amount of people are saying, this is the book that you want. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'm going to end the video on this. Do not believe what the masses all regurgitate. Because the last time I checked, the mass of people who are followers just believe anything that they're told. Because the last time I heard a group of people saying they know what's going on, the world convinced people that the world was flat. So the masses believe that. So there's a reason why, and I've said this on my other channel all the time, there's a reason why there's the word lie in the word believe. You know, right in the middle of the word believe is the word lie. So if you want to believe the masses are not going to care about you when you fail. They're not going to be there to pick you up. You know, there are plenty of people out there that'll give you advice that make them look good. You know, if you know anything about stockbrokers, there's a reason why they have an average of about a 5-year shelf life, because they give all these recommendations, and whether you win or lose, they make money off of you. So they don't really have an investment in your success. Me here, whether you succeed or not, does not affect me in any way whatsoever. But I want you to succeed, because if you constantly fail at comics, what are you eventually going to do? You're going to say, you know what? I wash my hands on comics. I don't want to be a part of them anymore. Do you think that helps us as a community, or do you think it hurts us as a community? So that's why my channel is all about trying to get people to think in a different way. It's okay to be excited about stuff. It's okay to have a desire for something. But if you have a desire for something where you cannot think logically, you're going to fail more times than you're ever going to succeed. And that is not the way to be a smart investor. Because trust me, I have plenty of comics in the 90s I could sell you for probably less than what I paid cover price for back in the 90s. I wasn't as smart back then because I believed what the masses were saying. With age comes wisdom. Doesn't guarantee I'm going to get everything right, and I'm not going to make mistakes or, you know, have a change in judgment. Or they could say a certain character is going to be in a movie and all of a sudden it gets canceled, or it doesn't work as like they thought it would. So mistakes can be made, but you notice that I don't get upset about it. And if you cannot control your emotions based on what you're doing with your comics, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and I wouldn't recommend it. So hopefully that answers some questions. Let me do today's surprise subscriber shout out, because throughout all this, and like I said, I just randomly did a video without any notification, and I've averaged about 70 people watching. So thank you for that. So I'm going to do today, the surprise subscriber shout out is going to go to Heidi Tyler. So Heidi, you are today's surprise subscriber shout out. Everybody that's here, I want to thank you. Hopefully you appreciate me taking the time to read some of the comments. The reason I can't do like shout outs for everybody all the time, I mean, nobody's going to want to watch a video of me just saying random names. So I want to try and do a little bit of it, but I want people to also understand that, you know, nobody's going to watch a video of me just randomly saying people's names. So that's why I try and do the surprise subscriber shout out. I'll read a couple of questions. And one thing I did say, and again, it's never a requirement, if anybody ever does one of the super chats, it will automatically be read as soon as I see it. So Robert Galvin was nice enough to do that. It does grab your attention because you see the colors all of a sudden pop up. And also the two new people that joined my Patreon I'm just going to say Craig because I don't want to put their last name out there, and Meet Bob World. So if anybody ever joins my Patreon, and again, you don't have to, but if you do, I will give you a special shout out and a thank you because it's always appreciated, even if it's a one-time thing. So hopefully you enjoyed this. The amount of thumbs up will tell me if you enjoyed it or not. Comic Addiction, he just did one. And again, I will always notify people when I see this. So Comic, I always appreciate that. And this is exactly why I sent you and your son all of those comics, because you've been nothing but kind to me, and I appreciate that. And that's a welcome change, considering some of the things I had to go through on the previous version of this channel and the beginning of coming back here. So he writes, best advice, it is with a C though, thank you, don't have to read out loud, but I will. And that's the beautiful thing that I want people to know about, because even he said this, and if you haven't seen the Comic Addictions channel, he's getting better and better. So I give him a lot of praise. He did an unboxing with some comics I sent for his son, and his son is absolutely adorable. I mean, I hope that you guys have that connection for the rest of your lives, and to have me be the first one to ever have a comic for him, it's my honor. But one of the things about me, because he said this, you know, he's like, oh, you don't have to do that stuff. The one beautiful thing about my life is I don't do anything because I have to. I do it because I want to. So it's an absolute pleasure. Just like you didn't have to send that super chat, but you were kind enough to do it. And I will always acknowledge that stuff. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And say hello to your wife for me and tell her thank you for the message and the kind words. Maybe get her in a video with you guys next time. Maybe I'll send something in the future. So congratulations also to BPPR, who won the 15% coupon. Just message me when you can with the email that I provided. I'll mail it out to you ASAP because it is only valid until December 31st of this year, so use it quick. And don't forget, it's not you, it's not I, it's We Love Comics. So with my cat Oregon and I, we say thank you very much for watching. He's going to give a little salute. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.